not going to get a second chance in the game.
How you doing? Chris Kirkpatrick here, offensive line coach at Elmhurst College. Going to talk a little bit about how we coach Indy with our offensive line here. I'm huge into this GoPro. We use our GoPro for our Indy drills. I throw it on top of my head, and we kind of film and then watch it with the kids in meetings, okay? The benefits of the GoPro are huge. As a Division III school, I'm coaching the O-line by myself. We aim to have about 20 to 25 guys on our offensive line. That fills up our varsity and JV roster. We want the guys to get a lot of reps. We can only practice for under 2 hours a day. So if I'm stopping my Indy drills all the time, that's tough. So the GoPro does 4 big things for us. With less manpower, I can't hire filmers all the time, but I have a head, okay? And I can throw it on, film it, cut it up, watch it, and recap it with the guys. That doesn't require work study. My GAs get to coach their position, and I can do it all myself, okay? With less coaching, like I said, we get more reps, which is always huge. The O-linemen like film. They do. And we only have so much team and things like that to watch. When I share the Indy film with them, they take ownership and watch it. They come back with questions. All right? And then the biggest thing is I miss things, you miss things, we all do. Check the ego at the door, okay? And the GoPro allows you to get back in the film room and say, holy cow, we weren't hitting the chute today, so I thought it was a good day, but our first step is going in the bucket. So now you can show it to your guys and say, look guys, when I was telling you that on the field, I was right, all right? And that's a huge thing. When we do our push-pull drill and I say you were being a bad partner and they see it on film, now they believe you, okay? They trust you, and when you're telling them something, you show it. So we're gonna go through the film a little bit here and talk a little bit about how I'd coach up each drill. All right, as we get into the huddle film here, talking about our GoPro series, we're going to go through offensive line drills, Indy drills. And again, this is awesome because I get to coach one buzzword per drill on the field, and then in the film room, we get to come back and get all those other coaching points. So we start off every day with our duck walk. We do this during warm-up. It's great for getting the hips ready to go for practice. And the thing I love about doing this as a warm-up drill is my guys know that the first thing they're going to do before they go to flex is duck walk. So by the time I get over there, they're ready to go. Their hips are loose because they've stretched out on their own because they don't want to get into the duck walk when they're stiff because that's uncomfortable. So it forces them to take ownership and get themselves ready to go. And then we also get to warm the hips up. And that is paramount, I think, in offensive line play, is if they go into practice with stiff hips, they're going to learn bad habits. So we did the duck walk right away. The only thing I coach these guys up on is to knee the man in front of them. That's the only thing I talk about on the field. Now in the film room, I'm going to talk about tight elbows, rub the rib cage, get the knees inside the shins to get power angles and have a flat back. Obviously, I always remind them eyes up. So on the field, all they would hear is eyes up, knee the guy in front of them. In the film room, we talk the other stuff. So as they come back through here, okay, we're seeing a rounded back here out of 75. I do like the tempo. I want to see the arms moving. Eyes up all the time, everything we do, football safety. And there you go. In the film room, I can pause it. I can draw up and say, look at Garrett, guys. He's got great angles, power angles. You know, and I could even, if I wanted to, come through and say, all right, now in this example, our guy here is a little rounded right there, so he's losing some power angles. And that's just the nice part about this. Here we go to our shoots, and as a zone team, the shoot drills and board drills are probably the most important thing we do. We're a big aiming point zone team, so instead of measuring steps, I talk about getting to the angle of our aiming point. And so the shoots and boards are huge. This is a variation for our uncovered step. I call it hat and hands. I got this from our head coach, who's a former defensive line coach. And one of the issues that I saw early on this year is we were great in practice when we went from a fit. But when we went live and had to get to our fit, we were never on our aiming point. So this is a good way to slow that down. And we ask our guys to take 2 steps, hold their aiming point on contact. So if I pause it right now, and we look over here, we have feet in the air. So if our feet are down over here, and we have feet in the air, that tells us that our feet are hanging. So that's the beautiful thing about this, is I might not have seen that happen on the field, but now in the meeting room, they're seeing it with me. So they really believe what I'm telling them. What we'll do is we'll do that twice. We'll do hat and hands, and then on the 3rd rep, we will hat, hands, and drive. Again, on the field, I'm going to talk to them about knee the guy in front of them. If we hit the chute, we will do the drill over again. So here you go. We're going again. Funny how they play low this time. But they are really kneeing the guy in front of them, and I love that. Now, in the film room, I can come back and say, get a wide base, your butt's too high, you're losing your power angles because you're on your toes and you're leaning, but all those things that I can't always see live. And you will see my feet down here. I do just sit down and coach them up. And I don't love doing that, but it is the best way to get the angle, so I do explain that to them. Then we come back, we do our covered step in a similar way. This is another variation with the med ball, to work the tight hands and rub the rib cage, get some friction with your elbows. I don't love using the med ball because you lose the force and the punch, but it is great to teach the aiming point. And we're buying new bags next year that actually have a protruding aiming point on it, so I can mix these 2 drills. But again, this is our covered step. And in the film room, I can come back, and I might have missed this on the field, but look at our first steps. Okay, these look like uncovered steps to me. This is good. But these are kind of bucket steps, so I can come back in there and say, hey, Garrett, hey, Billy, hey, Bobby, what's wrong with your first step here? Okay, and they can say, Coach, I lost ground when I shouldn't have. All right, and we can really test them every single day in the room. There's another thing I love about it. Pad level is super important to what we do, obviously. And a lot of times, if they don't hit the chute, you come off the field thinking, man, they were playing low today. They had flat backs. It was great. And then you come and you watch this. You pause it after a second step here. And we are standing straight up with a straight leg and no power angles. He didn't hit the chute, but he's not playing low. And those things hide themselves on the field sometimes. But in the film room with the GoPro, I'm able to see that and coach them up on that. Here we are going left. Now we take the med ball away. Got our tight ends in here. It's not always pretty, but we do take them with the O-linemen. And that's why they progressed a lot this year. So we go in, we leave our chute, we do everything else. I keep the GoPro strapped on my head as we come to duck hunt, which are our linebacker drill. On the field, all I'm telling them here is drop your butt before contact. If you got a guy who's a former basketball player and you tell him to close out to the shooter, or a former wrestler and you tell him to level change before contact, whatever you got to do. Some guys just like rap music, so you can say, drop your booty to the floor. Whatever's visual to that kid is the buzzword you want to use during this drill. Everything else we can coach in the film room and say, hey man, we're not driving our knees. We're not kneeing the guy, we're chopping our feet. But on the field, I get to keep it simple with this tool and say one buzzword. I get to look at footwork. Okay, this is our young cat group for the most part, and we have a bunch of different steps that look the same. It's pretty ugly. So they can see the example of the first step of the older guys, and look how fluid that is. Now look at you guys. Not as smooth. Some guys didn't move their feet, some guys are laid off the ball, and we can really show that with film. Another variation of duck hunt. So we're going to come back. We're not going to make contact this time. We're going to teach them to really run to the aiming point. We're going to take the contact piece out and just watch their first steps and their tracks. Now we should see the butts drop even though we're not going to make contact. This is a little bit more in our stretch game, or if you run mid-zone, B-gap zone. Then we add the contact back in, and it should look just the same. Okay, so I get to show these right side guys hey, one of you dropped your butt and one of you didn't. Which one did? And they get to say, 57 did, coach. You know, and it gets them really involved with their film. O-linemen like film, so we really like this tool. We do it in our pass pro too. So on the field, the only thing I really coach up in the pass pro drills is I want to see their eyes. I don't want them looking down. Teaches bad habits. Now I'd like his eyes out to his target, which is to his left, and he's staring at me. In the film room, we'll come back and we'll say, hey buddy, were you square? Were you reaching back with your kick foot? You know, that's not a bad one there. On his last couple kicks, he turns, which will get us beat. That's a soft hip. Got to get our elbows in. Where are our hands? You'll get to see it. Your hands aren't getting carried. And you get to do this without stopping the whole drill a bunch of times, and that's where the more reps piece comes in. Okay, we're getting a lot of reps right here, and I'm coaching each kid the next day in the film room. Get through this a little bit, we'll get to the post foot. So then on the field, we come through right afterwards, and I'm going to coach them on one thing during this drill on the field. Number one, always have your eyes up. But the buzzword in this one is I'm going to tell them to keep their post toe straight. Okay, so if they turn the post toe, they're giving up the inside, and we don't ever want to do that. Now in the film room, I can come back and say, did it look like you were pounding the post, or are you just hopping and shuffling? Okay, are you leaning? Are you outside the cylinder of your body? I can ask them all those things in a very controlled environment where they're looking at themselves. This is the last drill I'll talk about. It's my favorite drill in general that I do, probably because it was my least favorite to do as a player, but I saw the most benefit from it. We see as good of defensive linemen in college football as you'll see it in this conference, in the CCIW. We have some very, very, very talented defensive players to block. And if you're not technically sound, those kids will take advantage of you. Defensive linemen can sometimes come in raw and be good pass rushers. We can't do that. We have to be technically sound. So this is a drill that teaches that. We simply call it push-pull drill, and the offensive player is going to get ragdolled back and forth. It's not a bull rush drill. It's a push-pull drill. So we are going to anchor on the push and pull our shoulders back when we get pulled, okay? So really what we're looking for is, are you able to stay square with a wide base, and is your head snapping back and forth? It shouldn't snap. Not if you got a hard rock of a core, it's not going to snap, okay? You shouldn't be hopping. You should be able to take a bunch of steps. Everything O-linemen do is a two-step. Okay, so two-step, that's all we do. We talk about that all the time. As you see these guys, the hoppers are not very good at this drill. All right? Old buddy in the blue cleats and yellow shirt here is one of the best natural push-pullers I've ever seen. He's a true freshman, and his feet just never stop. Okay? And you'll see some examples of, you know, the guys next to him are getting pushed and pulled a little bit too much. That's because their feet are stopping too often. We get to see all that stuff in the drill. Okay, here's the last part about this drill that I love, and the fact that the GoPro points this out to them is, how many times have I had to tell an O-lineman, you're not working your buddy hard enough? Okay, how many times have I had to say, you're taking it easy on each other, which is natural. We all do it. I have video evidence of it now. They don't want to take it easy on each other. They don't believe they're doing it. So when I yell at a player about it to correct that part, now I get to show him evidence. And he gets to see, you're right, I was not giving that guy a great effort. And that's great for building trust. My guys trust me. They don't think I'm lying to them. Okay? And I think the GoPro has been a huge piece to that. Thanks for participating, everybody. Again, my name's Chris Kirkpatrick, Coach Boo. I'm the offensive line coach here, and love coaching football here, love coaching O-line. You can get in contact with me if you have any questions. My office phone, email, and Twitter are great tools for that. Reach out, please. I also participate on Monday nights, #HogFootball chats on Twitter. So you might see me on that if you're an O-line coach. If you've never checked that out, please do so. And again, ask me any questions about the GoPro, how we use it. I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks, and go Jays.